You know that sound, that drip, 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 or even worse, that sudden gush of water where it absolutely should not be. It's a sound that can make any homeowner's heart drop. It's basically an attack on your home, on your peace of mind. So today, let's go deep inside what happens when water goes from friend to foe. It always seems to start small, doesn't it? A little drip under the sink, maybe a faint water stain on the ceiling. You might even think, I'll get to that later. But here's the thing about water. It's relentless. It spreads, it soaks into everything, and it can cause an unbelievable amount of damage, fast. So where does that little drip really end? The answer is usually way worse than you'd think.
The clock starts ticking the second water gets loose. I mean, within minutes, it's already spreading, wicking its way up your walls. A few hours go by, and now you can see the damage. Your drywall starts to swell up and get soft, your beautiful hardwood floors begin to cup and warp. But here's the real kicker, the part you really have to worry about. Between 24 and 48 hours, that's when mold starts to grow. And if this goes on for days, you're not just looking at a mess anymore. You're looking at potential structural damage and some serious health hazards.
So this is it. This is the single most important takeaway. That 48-hour window is not a friendly suggestion. It's a hard deadline for Mother Nature. Acting inside this time frame is the biggest thing you can do to stop a manageable problem from exploding into an absolute nightmare of mold, rot, and huge expenses.
All right, so if you're going to fight this battle, you've got to know your enemy. And when it comes to water damage, the very first thing the pros figure out is what kind of water are we dealing with? Because as you're about to see, where the water came from changes the entire game plan.
And let's be real, the attack can come from just about anywhere, right? We see it all the time. Pipes bursting after a deep freeze, washing machine hoses that just decide to give up, water heaters failing. Then you've got roof leaks after a big storm or heavy rain that just overwhelms your basement. And of course, there's the one nobody ever wants to deal with, sewage backups. Yikes!
So professionals have a system. They classify the water into 3 categories. Category 1, that's clean water. Think of a broken supply line. The risk is relatively low. Then you've got Category 2, or gray water. This stuff has some contaminants in it, maybe it's from a dishwasher or a washing machine drain. But Category 3, that's black water. This is the serious stuff. It's from sewage or maybe floodwater from outside, and it is full of dangerous bacteria and pathogens. It requires a whole different level of caution.
Okay, we've identified the enemy. The damage is spreading by the minute. Now the counterattack begins. This first response is all about one goal: stop the bleeding. It's about bringing order to the chaos and doing it fast. What's this number all about? Well, this is the gold standard that professional restoration companies aim for, to be on your doorstep in under 90 minutes. And why is that so important? Because every single minute that water just sits there, it's soaking deeper, causing more damage and costing more money. Speed isn't just a gimmick, it's literally the most important tool they have. So, once the team arrives, they hit the ground running with a clear plan. First up, they assess how bad it is and make sure the area is safe to work in. Then, job number 1 is to find the source and shut it down. Immediately after that, the big guns come out. Powerful pumps start extracting all that standing water. And at the same time, they're moving your furniture and other belongings out of harm's way. Now, you're going to hear these 2 words thrown around a lot: mitigation and restoration. It's really important to know the difference. Mitigation is the emergency phase. It's damage control. Think of it like the ER doctors stopping the bleeding. Restoration comes next. That's the repair and rebuilding phase, after everything is clean, dry, and stable. That's the part where they make your home look like it did before the disaster. Okay, the standing water is gone. Great. But we are far from done. The real enemy is the moisture you can't see, the stuff that's trapped deep inside your walls and floors. And this is where the real science kicks in, because just pointing a few box fans at the wall, that is one of the worst things you can do. Professional drying is a whole different ballgame. And that science has a name: psychrometry. It sounds super complex, I know, but the basic idea is pretty cool. Professionals don't just blow air around, they actually manipulate the air itself. They control the temperature, the airflow, and the humidity to create the perfect drying environment, one that literally forces those wet materials to release their trapped moisture back into the air so it can be captured. And to do this, they bring out a pretty impressive toolkit. They have moisture meters and thermal cameras that let them literally see water inside a wall. They use huge industrial air movers to create a vortex of airflow. Giant commercial dehumidifiers work around the clock, pulling gallons and gallons of water vapor out of the air.
And if the water was contaminated, they'll use HEPA air scrubbers to literally clean the air you're breathing.
So, how long does this all take? Well, it totally depends on what got wet. Something porous like drywall might be dry in a few days, but dense hardwood floors, that could take a week or more. And something super dense like a concrete slab, we could be talking weeks. Trying to rush this part is a recipe for absolute disaster. And this right here, this is the heart of the matter. The biggest danger isn't the puddle you see, it's the moisture you don't. If a home is dried improperly, which is almost guaranteed if you try to do it yourself, you're leaving behind that hidden moisture. And that leads right back to the things you were trying to prevent: mold, rot, and serious structural problems that might not show up for months.
All right, we've made it. The house is officially, scientifically, and most importantly, verifiably dry. Now the final phase can begin, putting your home back together. This is where we go from a stabilized disaster zone back to the comfortable, safe home you remember.
This process is just as methodical as the drying. First, they do a final check to prove that everything meets industry dryness standards. Then, they sanitize the affected areas. Any contaminated materials that just couldn't be saved are removed and disposed of properly. Then comes the reconstruction. New drywall, new floors, a fresh coat of paint. And the very last step is a final walkthrough and deodorization to make sure everything is perfect. Now, something else has been happening this whole time that is absolutely vital. From the moment they showed up, the pros have been documenting everything, taking tons of photos, creating moisture maps, keeping daily drawing logs. Why? Because all that paperwork is the language your insurance company speaks. It's the proof that the work was necessary and done right, and it's your key to a smooth, headache-free claim. And this leads us to the final and maybe most important question. The equipment is gone, the paint looks great, everything feels dry. Your home is back to normal. But how do you know it's safe? How can you be 100% sure that some hidden pocket of moisture isn't going to turn into a huge mold problem 6 months from now? And that right there is the bottom line. This is the professional difference. It's not just about having bigger fans. It's about getting verifiable proof from calibrated meters that your home is truly dry. It's about preventing future problems, not just cleaning up the current one. It's about knowing how to handle dangerous contaminants safely. It's about having the documentation to prove the job is done right. Ultimately, it's about restoring not just your house, but its value, and most importantly, your family's safety and peace of mind.